Foundation. It's a nonprofit, and she has a lot of good information. She has a lot of credentials behind her. I was reading the bio, which is always not kind to the beauty of a person, because the credentials get in the way of seeing the real smile and the beautiful being that we have here. She's worked as a researcher at the Marine Science at Scripps Institution of Oceanography. She knows a little bit about water, and that seems to have been the focus the last couple of days. When we're dealing with individuals of spirit, not only do we see their auric fields, but we also can see the love radiating from their heart. And she's one of those who immediately struck me as a beautiful heart spirit. Please come forward and tell us what we need to know, dear. Sure. Do you want the podium up here? Okay. You want to stand for this?
That's fine.
All right. All righty.
Tatuari always helps me. It's grandfather fire to the Huichol people of Mexico. And when I was a little girl, I had this deep, full connection with the animal world. And I was about 5 years old, and we had a toad that lived in this locust tree in my yard in Ohio. And I used to knock on the tree, and my frog would come out. And I asked my father when I was an adult if I dreamed that, and he said, no, it freaked me out. And I spent so many years connected like that, and then I ended up in the world of raising our children, Western culture, all the denial of all the magic that is this beautiful Mother Earth. And I was really fortunate, because when I went back to school at 40 to study marine science, so that because I felt like maybe that way I could help the oceans. And I found how destructive science was, and how much people thought they knew so much when they couldn't understand the mystery. And I never lost that awe or that mystery. And I ended up meeting a young man that was my partner for several years, who took me to the Huichol people of Mexico. And they are the only natives of Mexico that were never conquered by the Spaniards. So their culture is still fully intact. Their songs are intact, every part of their life. They only came out of the mountains about 40 years ago. But I went down there for 7 years and watched these joyful, happy people who lived the right way with the earth. They have no running water. They have no toilets. They farmed. And one day, Mother Earth said, I'm in trouble. And for the first time in their history, their crops were failing. So 40 years ago, they came out of the mountains because they needed a way to feed themselves. And I was so blessed to get to be with these people. And when I watched them, I thought, this is how you sustain the earth. Not through science, not through any other career that I was looking at. I felt like what I wanted more than anything was to help conserve this wisdom. So when I started Sacred Earth Foundation, it was strictly to conserve indigenous cultures, their territories, but most of all, their wisdom. And since then, it's just been magic for me. So about 15 years ago, right after I started the corporation and did all the paperwork, I split up with my partner of 7 years. I moved into a house with strangers in Santa Barbara, California, and within 2 weeks ruptured my back. So I have a roommate I hardly know who takes me to the hospital, brings me back, and I'm laying in my backyard, and I'm wailing. And it's like all the sadness of my whole life came out my mouth. And I laid there and I said, Great Spirit, show me what I'm supposed to do with Sacred Earth, because I really didn't know how to go forward with it. Within 24 hours, people who were doing a film on Don Alejandro Cerrillo Perez Oxlage, who's called Wandering Wolf, he's the head of the Maya elders of Guatemala, asked me if I could be an umbrella for them so I could take the money in to help them make the film. And within 2 weeks, I was hosting him in Santa Barbara. And I just went, thank you. Because it was like the whole world just put her arms around me and held me. So I'd like to start a little bit with a prayer that I was given by the Weechall people. I did a Vision Quest with them. I spent 7 years going down to spend time with them. And since then, I've just been so blessed. I have worked with some of the most amazing people I could ever imagine who have taught me so much. So, Great Spirit, I give thanks for this world, for this universe, with all its dimensions, all of its realities, all of its beings, all of its entities, all of its spirits, and all of its forces. I give thanks for all there is. Tatuari, Grandfather Fire, thank you for your light in the darkness, your warmth in the cold. Thank you for your teachings and your lessons. I open myself to your guidance so that I may grow in spirit and in blessings as I walk this path and bring healing and understanding to my people and be a benefit to all my relations. Mother Earth, thank you, thank you, thank you for all the life on this planet that comes from your womb. Thank you for your firm body that we walk on and build our lives on. Thank you for the ancient mountains and stone people who watch over us. Thank you for the forests, valleys, plains, deserts, the beaches, and the tundra. Thank you, Pachamama, for holding the lakes, streams, rivers, swamps, the ice caps, and Tate Haramara. Thank you for the plants and animals we live our lives with who nurture our bodies so that we may walk this path for the benefit of all our relations. Thank you, Father Son, for your life-giving energy that brings us forth from Mother Earth and sustains us. Thank you, Mama Kia, Grandmother Moon, for watching over us in the night and bringing forth the spirits. Thank you, Grandmother Ocean, for your gift of life and weather. Thank you, wind and clouds and lightning, for rain and snow. Thank you for the rain and water, for the life-giving fluids that flow through all things. Thank you, trees. Thank you, plants. Thank you, birds. Thank you, animals. Thank you, insects. Thank you, people. I give thanks for all there is. That prayer brought me back to my prayers. And in the morning you do it and you face the east. And in the evening you face the west. And when you come to that place of gratitude, there is no room for the despair, the depression that plagues this society. And I am so pleased because I'm able to offer sweat lodges on a piece of land that Spirit gave me. I came here 4 years ago from California. And I went to a friend's property who said I might be able to buy in on the land. And I spent an entire winter there knowing no one, no running water, all the pipes broke, nobody else was there. And I still fell in love with the place. And my friend decided not to sell. And I had no idea where I was going to go, what I was going to do. I sold everything I owned in Santa Barbara, spent 2 months in Peru, came back and went, what am I going to do now? And I walked into a real estate office and I said, I have no money, I have great credit, and I have a really small retirement. Is there any way I can buy anything here? Because I did not want to leave Colorado. I'd fallen in love with it. I got a house on 7.5 acres for no money down, and it borders National Forest. And I know that land is mine because I do ceremony on it. I bring the people there to share it. And I cherish that place like I cannot even tell you. But it's been such a gift to me. But I think one of the first things I realized when I left science and started following this path and learning from the elders I've been so fortunate to learn from was that first we have to shed all our cherished wounds. We have to get rid of all those things that we've carried our whole lives as resentment, grievances, whatever they are. So I'd like everybody to repeat after me. Every decision I make, is a choice between a grievance and a miracle. I relinquish all regrets, grievances, and resentments, and I choose the miracle. Every decision I make is a choice between a grievance and a miracle. I relinquish all regrets, grievances, and resentments, and I choose the miracle. And I'd like everybody to stand up for a minute. And first, we're just going to do a breathing exercise, and I want you to imagine you're just building up all the anger, all the regrets, all the grievances, and then you're going to go, ha, 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 ha. Let them out. Ha, 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 ha. And Vladimira taught us to do it even further. And she is a shamana from Siberia who has taught so many people in the Boulder area and on my land how to release all the stuff we don't need. And I'm just going to act like a chicken, and I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to go, ha, 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 ha. Come on, get it out of you. Everybody's got something. Ha, 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 ha. And I want you to feel it in your solar plexus. Feel the fire. Ha, 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 ha. The other thing we don't do in our culture is honor our ancestors. And I was really fortunate to work with John Lockley of the Kosa clan from Cape. And they start out their day. And first they get into their own power and they stand in who they are. And it's really difficult for a lot of us to even think about honoring our ancestors. Some of us may dislike our family. Maybe we've been abused by our family. But even if your father were Hitler, he gave you the shining. He gave you life. And without our ancestors, we would not have this opportunity to see who we are and stand in who we are. And my name is Patricia June Turner-Waite Potts Kaufman in Shetadina San. I honor and praise my ancestors. I honor and praise my father, John Robert Potts. I honor and praise my mother, June Everetta Kaufman. I honor and praise my teachers, grandmother Walking Thunder, Dene Medicine Woman, Angangak Unger Korswak, shaman of Greenland, Don Alejandra Surrier Perez Oxlage, Rosa Maria Cabrera, who has passed on. And she was a Maya daykeeper who taught me the stars I came in with, who my Nawales were. She did my astrology in the Maya way. And suddenly I realized I was born under the sign of the eagle, Sikhin. And the eagle in their eyes was about having a vision and bringing community together to the pole in the center of the village. And I had no idea this was my path. But once I found this path, I mean, I've been through everything. I started out doing visual merchandising for stores. And one day I said, oh my God, I'm only getting people to consume more. We have got to not consume. And then I go into science thinking that might help. And then I ended up here. And all I can tell you is the work I have done with these amazing elders has been the greatest gift of my life. Angangak teaches the greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, nor there to here. The greatest distance in the existence of man is from his head to his heart. And until we learn to bridge that distance, we will never know how to soar as the eagle and know our own immensity within. As you can tell, I don't plan my talks. I just ask for help. Help me. I just get up here and wing it. because I don't usually talk in front of people. I'm usually around a fire, and I'm either doing a sweat lodge or I'm gathering people for initiations. And I spent 3.5 years realizing, oh my God, I've got 20 years of teachings from these amazing people, and I'm just sitting with it. And I decided no one offers an extended program for initiations for people. And my initiations are not about rites of passage. They're about finding our own immensity within. And so for 3.5 years I went, I just feel called to do this. I so want to do this. And all I heard was, who am I to do this? And finally I heard, if not you, whom? And so for the last 5 years I've been leading mostly women, some men, in a 6-month program. And we start out the first month and it's all about shedding. And they scream and they go into lodge and they get rid of all their shit. And the next month is about impeccability. Being impeccable in our thoughts, impeccable in how we speak to people, impeccable in what are we using, what are we taking. And it's really amazing how difficult it is for women to buy nothing for 30 days. And that's what they have to do, gas and food, nothing else. Go to work, get your food, you don't need anything. And so many people, especially the wealthiest, are living in this horrible fear of loss, terrified of losing. But if we have $100 in our savings account, we have $100 we don't need. Isn't that true? And if we spread it and balance it, we will bring so much more peace to this beautiful planet. And I want to urge all of you, I am so blessed where I live. I get up every morning and Pikes Peak is out my window. My tiny little house in the woods, and I have a view of pikes from my deck. And 4 amazing animals that walk with me every day. 2 cats, 2 dogs, they hike everywhere with me. So every day I get to go out and make some offerings to Mother Earth and ask that I walk softly upon her. And when I lived in Santa Barbara, we had 800,000 acres lost to fire. California has fires just like here. And they were really near my home. And before the fires came, I was pretty much of an athlete when I lived there. And I would ride my bike up a mountain, and there was this one rock, probably as big as this stand here, where I would sit and meditate, and I could see the ocean. So I'd bike up the mountain, do my meditation, and an amazing man named Art Cisneros, who's a Shumish elder in California, used to hike with me a lot. We became really great friends. And he always said, Patti, wherever you go, leave your offering, leave your thanks, leave your love. And he really taught me to be impeccable in that. So I would go to this rock, and before I'd leave my tobacco all the way around it. And my prayer was always, please protect this sacred space. And the second place I would go was a place called Stevens Park. My lazy days, I biked on the flat. And I'd go to this park, and there was this amazing oak tree there, kind of near a little stream. And again, I always went, please protect this sacred space. 2 months after the fires ended, it took 2 months to be able to go back to the places I loved because there were so many hot spots. And I got up to my rock, and the only thing not black was the grass around my rock. And I went to Stevens Park, and the only tree unburned was my oak tree. So I tell you, do not despair. Trust in the power of our love, in the power of what we can heal. You see polluted water, don't walk away. Pray to her. Ask her to be healthy. Pray for her. Our prayers are so powerful. We are powerful beyond measure. We are a piece of God. Great Spirit, Creator, you who are called by 1,000 names, you who are unnameable. We are all little dots of photons that are part of all that light. And we walk around with guilt, and we walk around in fear, and I tell you, all of our emotions have a good side and a bad side. We have this part of us that thinks we should never feel anger, we should never express anger. No, we don't want to hurt someone with our anger, but we can take that anger that says, I don't want this, and say, but I do want this. Let that anger work for you. Let that anger guide you and give you the will for what you do want. When we go to the place of fear, fear is the magician. Fear is that part that allows a mother to pick a car up off her child. Our fear can be our greatest strength if we do not surrender to it. And grief is knowing there's nothing we can do. So we learn to surrender. We learn to accept instead of fighting. So much of what I'm telling you are just different teachings from different people. The last was from a woman named Una Soleil, who's a druid from Scotland. I was so blown away. In 2009, a ngangak came to me and asked me if I would do logistics for fulfilling the prophecy of the Eskimo people in Greenland. 26,000 years ago, all the ice took all the trees of Greenland. There were no trees left. So their prophecy was, as the ice is melting, and they could suddenly see their handprints in the ice. And if you've never seen the big ice, it's beyond what you can comprehend. I stood on a mountain, and it was 1.5 kilometers above my head. It's amazing. Greenland is the biggest island on Earth, and only 15 kilometers around the edge is habitable. The entire rest of that island is the big ice we hear about. So much of the ice has melted that the trees have been returning to Greenland. So we had the first sacred fire from wood in 26,000 years. Up until then, it was all seal oil. And it was the most amazing thing I could ever have helped with. I am so grateful that I did that, but it was also the hardest thing. There's nothing in the Arctic. I get to Copenhagen and find out I have 2 days to catch the only boat that's going to Greenland until after our event. And I didn't have time to worry about food. So I get to Greenland and find out I can't buy what the grocery has. The village will be hungry. And the only way to get the food is to fly it in. So I got the school to sell me what was in their freezer, because school wouldn't start until after the next boat. And I got hunters to hunt for our meat. So we ate caribou, and we ate salmon. And 150 people came to do this ceremony with the Eskimo people. And I watched these people who had been taken from their long homes by the Danish, like so many native people, and told, you can't live all together, so no one knew who owned the kayaks. And suddenly I saw these people being honored. And Hensinia's 84 years old, and I could not keep up with her up the mountain. And I watched her weeping in front of the ice, and I talked to her and asked her if she was okay, and she said, my whole life I've been shunned, and suddenly I'm being honored. And it's like, this forgiveness is coming to all of us. It's time to bring all the forgiveness to the next 7 generations, and all of the apologies for the next 7 generations. Because there we are, brothers and sisters. And I stood there with a woman that was Maori, African men, boys from Brazil, elders from all over the planet were there. And I got to share in all their ceremonies and see the richness of their lives, and see all these people that paid to come to support them, that were growing in their hearts and understanding the beauty of these people and what they have to give us. So I am very grateful for the Sacred Earth Foundation, because through this nonprofit, I've hosted dozens of people and been able to bring them to my people and sit by a fire with someone like Walking Thunder. I was in a lodge with her, and this great big, like 6'7" guy that I'd never met was in our lodge. And I look at him, and he's just And I know he's weeping. And I went up and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Patti, I've had a rash on my body for 15 years and it's gone." And if anybody has ever met Grandmother Walking Thunder, she should be here. She is an amazing woman. Since she was 11 years old, she's learned from her elders. She carries all her songs. And she's one of the few Dene women allowed to lead lodge, to lead the Native American ceremony. And she loves everyone. And I want to share a song that she gave me. I'm really nervous, so my voice is going to be really bad. But this song is just about celebrating that we are alive and celebrating the beauty that surrounds us. And it's about, may I walk in beauty. May I see the beauty in front of me and behind me, to the left of me and the right of me, above me, below me, and especially within me. Because one thing our culture does not allow us is to see the beauty within us. We're told we're not enough, we're compared. We can't be compared. We all have a gift to bring forward. And we're at a time when we need to bring those gifts forward. Whatever they look like to you, wherever your calling is, it's time to step forward in it. So I love this song, and I'll do the best I can. Ya hey, ya ho, ya hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey, hey ya, hey, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Shama, Shama, no kaki, shu is in a shadow. Hey, ah, hey, hey, ah, hey, hey, ya, hey, ah, hey, ya, hey. Ya ho, ya hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey, hey ya, hey, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Shama, Shama. No kaki, sure is in a shadow. Hey ya, hey, hey ya, hey, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Thank you. I never speak this long. What else can I share with you? So many things. I guess the greatest message I want to give people is that if we pay attention, miracles are everywhere. Magic is everywhere. I stood on my deck with 9 women who were my initiates, and it was, I think, our 4th month together. And we went on the deck at 9:15 because it was the time of Cinco de Mayo, full moon, 2012. And it was a powerful, powerful moon that was going to rise. And we went out there because we were going to sing to her. And nothing was visible, totally socked in, and we're all like, ah. And Christina, who's a really powerful young woman that worked with me, says, "Cloud breaking, Patti." And I went, "You got it." I said, "Okay, you guys, everybody here, pray that the clouds open, that we can see Grandmother Moon. Let's start singing to her." And we got an opening like this. And she came in, and she went out. And Art, my friend I tell you about, who's Shumesh from California, taught me a frog song. And the frog song is when you need the rain. And I found, I'm I'm having so many fires on my land. And oftentimes it's like right at the edge of the fire ban, oh, this is scary, there's wind. And I found that if I start in the beginning of the week, before we're going to do ceremony, and I start praying for water, it has never failed me. And I sing the frog song, and I ask the weather beings, help me, help me, help me. We need ceremony. My people need the fire. Please protect this sacred space. And I'm never let down. And it's not me. This is all of us. We're all connected in this way. You just have to let your heart open so fully that you know the weather hears you. You know the spirits are hearing you, and you know your guides and your guardians are helping you. And Rosa Maria told me I had 88 Nawales, which are guides and guardians. And I went, wow. And she goes, you have an army, Patti. And I know I do, because I've been faced with death many, many times. When I didn't think I was going to live, they pulled me out and they stood me up and said, okay, that's done. Let's go forward. And when we get to that place, there's just no stopping us. If we have the intention and it's good and it's rich and it's in service, we are helped all the time. So I just ask all of you to not forget, when you walk on the earth, leave a little offering for her. I know most of you practice this kind of thing, but most of us forget. We go hike up the mountain with our friends and we're chatting, and we totally forget to go, thank you, Mother Earth. Let me walk softly on you. Carry me up this hill. And she will. And so when you're sad or you feel discouraged or depressed, which is it's a plague in this society, put your belly on her. Listen to her heart. Hug the trees. And thank you for your time. And I'm going to be short, because that's how much I can talk. Thank you. I have to close this.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay.
Hatawari, please take these prayers to those we offer them to. In the name of the spirits of the West, in the name of the spirits of the East, in the name of the spirits of the North, whoops, that was North, and in the name of the spirits of the South, I love them, they know me. Thank you.
People asked me to join in while you're here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, fire. Where did it go? Do you still
Oh,
know?
I can redo that.
We can
for you.
fix it.
Yeah. No, I guess. Yeah, Eagle said to join you. You said something earlier that was, I had some dreams. There was a dream with me in it. And then I had a day of deja vus continuously. And then I had another dream. And the dream where the deja vus left, you just talked about. Wow. A ceremony with many different traditions in it.
A sacred fire in Greenland.
Yeah, and I was deep in a dream, but I was awake in a dream. And a medicine lady took me by the hand and said, glad to see you made it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So fire is a royal companion, born out of kinship from old, where lifetime after lifetime, wrapped in a robe of darkness, a dreamer's destiny takes years to unfold, until up from the lowest seat of high position, clear to the noble head of a living throne, there flames a procession of bright intuition, burning with compassion, elements from the wandering unknown. In the north, a star is risen, beyond the sight of mortal men, while in the space and time that's given, from inside, a storm cloud approaching signals the beginning of the middle of the end. So many children like to play with fire, though so few have ever learned how to grasp a life of passionate desire without first getting your fingers burned.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I loved it. Actually, Angangak's ceremony, on top of the sacred fire, he also did a fire and ice ceremony. And he actually walked up to the big ice, which I will tell you is very dangerous today. That ice explodes and sends huge chunks at you, and the